Good morning and welcome to the Science Magazine program. The Department of Biotechnology has launched the Bio-E3 policy to foster high-performance biomanufacturing. The initiative provides startups, SMEs, industry and academia access to shared infrastructure for pilot and free commercial-scale production of sustainable bio-based products. Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council (BIRAC) is a public sector enterprise set up by Department of Biotechnology to strengthen and empower the emerging biotech enterprise to undertake strategic research and innovation, addressing nationally relevant product development needs. To know more about BIRAC's role and achievements, listen to an interview with Dr. Jitendra Kumar, Managing Director, BIRAC. The interviewer is Manoj, Mainkar.
It's a privilege and a pleasure to welcome Dr. Jitendra Kumar, Managing Director, Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council, popularly known as BIRAC. And when I say popularly known as BIRAC, what I mean to say is that this part of biotechnology is taking up new shapes and forms day by day. Dr. Jitendra Kumar, first of all, welcome to the studio. And before we move on to, of course, the principal protagonist of today's little interview is going to be the Bio-E3 policy, which everyone is eager to know about. I would like to begin with something more simpler. If you look at the last few decades, in a nutshell, how do you trace the trajectory of the academia-industry synergy that has developed through the lens of its evolution? How has it evolved over the years?
So you are talking about academia-industry interface, and this is one of the important aspects of growth of biotechnology in India. We have set up a lot of academic institutions right from beginning of after independence. We had set up IITs in central universities and many other institutions of prominence, CSIR labs, Department of Biotechnology labs, and many were already there. Like for example, IC was already there for a long time. But we were actually imparting education in these universities mostly as a degree providing training. Quality was not bad actually. We were very good. That's why our students were preferred by the global universities, and most of the students who did BTech, MTech, even BSc, MSc, they aimed for higher education abroad and they were selected. And a lot of these global universities have praised Indian students. So our training was good. There's beyond doubt our training was good in bachelor's, master's. And however, when we talk about research, there I think it was lacking. The cutting edge research was not happening. Maybe because research requires a lot of aspects to be coming together. For instance, it requires a lot of infrastructure support. It requires, at least in biotech I'm saying, it requires a lot of postdoctoral students or researchers to be there in the lab who can carry on the research, because MSc and PhD students will do only the PhD part of it or the thesis part of it. After that they will leave. So who will take this research forward to actually make it happen?
Let me interrupt you. Is there a difference between research for the sake of research and research for the sake of something more applied like in industrial use or something like that?
Yes, there is a huge difference. Research for the sake of research is curiosity driven research, which researcher would like to know the nature and understand how it works, why it works, etc. However, when we talk about industrial use, it entails the use and implication of the knowledge into solving some unmet need or solving some societal problem, and that's where the difference is. When we talk about societal problem or solving some unmet need, we always think about sustaining that activity, sustaining that business. If a startup is generated or spin out from that academic institution or academic lab where the research has been done, then the startup must sustain, and the problem or the solution on which they are working must generate some revenue. So a lot of business knowledge is required. However, our country has been not focusing on education which is 360 degree or holistic, because people or students who are opting science will have no knowledge of business economics, and people who are going to economics or students who are going to economics and arts, they will not have any idea of science. Because of this dichotomy early in the career and no flexibility now now with national education policy, definitely it has been, rectified to large extent, and time will tell that, lot of flexibility is there. Now students can opt for many other disciplines and somehow they can take up entrepreneurship next level. However, the point I'm trying to drive is there is a difference and the mindset is totally different. A researcher who is doing only for sake of research and he is curiosity driven will be publishing high impact papers and he'll be
That might be useful to somebody else.
Exactly, and might be useful for somebody else, and he is not concerned about its application and use, and he just thinks that he is solving or discovering something. The translational research part, our scientists who are trying to take these technologies or research which has happened in the academic lab, or his mindset is to do such research which leads to certain products or technology, is by mindset they are trying to solve some problem. Now in our country, unfortunately, most of the academic research happens only for the sake of research. Why? The reason is because their incentives are aligned towards only research. For example, their promotion or their recognition will depend upon how the number of papers they have published. So therefore, automatically they are driven towards that. And there is no away from the market. There is no risk-taking ability. And there is no mechanism through which spin-out can be generated from academic research labs. For example, I was in US where I was doing MBA and I was a postdoctoral trainer also there. And I could see that the MBA program has been designed in such a way that they have to take some problem and within their MBA program and then they have to spin out company. So basically, as an MBA student, I had spun out a company in US. So therefore, you have the mechanism.
Connected with your original subject, was it?
Broadly, yes. But the technology was developed by another lab. I was a biological scientist, so I could understand it and I could take it forward. But the technology was developed by some other lab. Now, there are two aspects to it. One is that research for research sake, and there is no question of any translation. Second is, even if you are thinking about translational research, the mechanisms of translating actually properly does not exist in our institutions. So now IITs have adapted to, they have set up incubation center. Our BIRAC has set up incubation centers. Now they can incubate their ideas, etc. But largely, university system, still it is lacking.
When I spoke about evolution at the outset, that leads me to my next curiosity. When was BIRAC born?
So BIRAC was established in 2012.
Now comes the main theme of our interaction, and that the Bio-E3 policy, which we've been hearing about it for a long time now, but one wasn't sure about whether it has been implemented or it is being implemented. What is the status now? And first of all, let me tell listeners who are not already aware of it, Bio-E3 means biotech for environment, economy and employment.
So economy comes first. Economy, environment and employment. So you are 100% right. There is always a confusion at what stage the policy is. And as you know, the Bio-E3 policy was launched and was cleared from cabinet in 2024. That was in August. That's why we are actually celebrating anniversary, 1 year of Bio-E3 policy. So this policy was cleared from cabinet and it entailed, or it was envisaged to actually have funding support for creating biofoundries and biomanufacturing hubs through this grant program under this policy, and also to support some theme-based projects in the area of cell and gene therapy or chemicals and enzymes, etc., carbon capture, agriculture, biotech, where the systems can be evolved or used to create biomanufacturing projects, biomanufacturing organisms or processes where biomanufacturing is involved. And how they will be actually growing and scaling up, it will be through biofoundries and biomanufacturing hub also was supposed to be created under this.
Dr. Kumar, I heard the word foundries. Now, to a common man's mind, the foundry comes across as a smelting place or something. Why has this word been used?
You are 100% right, actually. And foundries means smelting, where a lot of karigars or blacksmiths are, working and all that. However, over the period of time, this foundry has been used at multiple places. So foundry has also been used in places where a lot of stakeholders are coming together to solve one particular problem or similar set of problems in a same place. And they are also called foundries, and they have created clusters. So foundries clusters you must have heard. So it may be only for, say, for example, silk woven sarees or cotton clothes or smelting, as you said, and there may be so many different foundries. However, now in modern concepts or modern terminology, people have borrowed it from there to use it, put in the biotechnology domain. Now, biotechnology, what it means? It means use of living organisms to produce some economic value. This in general is biotech. Even making curd is biotech, to be honest. You're using yeast and other strains to use to make curd. Fermentation is a biotech in a way. But now it's old age, those were used, but now in the modern biotechnology or modern biology, it also means cloning genes, gene cloning, where you can produce some desired product through cloning of this gene in a living organism. It also means, ways in which you can capture carbon from atmosphere. It also means producing crops which are climate resilient. It also means using biomaterials. It also means using agricultural waste to produce, using cellulase enzymes to produce or to make biofuels. So these all different connotations of biotechnology has come into fore. Now, when we talk about biofoundry, why this word has come, it's a place where from idea to commercialization, you have all the facilities together. Therefore, the word has come.
I just suspected that the entire subject is slightly skewed towards pharmaceuticals. Is it so?
No, pharmaceuticals is only one branch. Of course, I agree that it's a major branch. Pharmaceuticals is a chemistry. It's about making medicines, chemistry driven. However, here we are talking about biopharmaceuticals, using biological means to produce pharmaceuticals or raw materials, or using biological molecules like say proteins, monoclonal antibodies, to use it as a therapy for some or either cancer or some other agents.
So besides pharma, how many sectors this subject spread its tentacles?
So broadly speaking, we can categorize biotechnology into healthcare. Now healthcare can again be divided into medical devices and diagnostic and pharma, biopharma. So this is healthcare sector. Then comes agricultural biotechnology, industrial biotechnology, food and nutrition, and then environmental biotechnology. So these are major areas. Climate change also environmental biotechnology. So when we talk about biomanufacturing, Bio-E3 policy, we have covered all these areas. For instance, if we talk about environmental biotechnology, there is a carbon capture theme within this Bio-E3 policy. If we talk about healthcare, then we have cell and gene therapy in this one theme. We talk about agriculture, we have agricultural biotechnology and sustainable crop production and marine biotechnology also in this. So it's a very vast subject, because ultimately the aim is to actually see that the manufacturing that we are doing should be happening through living systems, so that it's more environmentally sustainable, it is carbon footprint is less, and the circular economy happens so that the development becomes sustainable. Right now our development is not sustainable. We are developing on the expense of degrading the environment. We have polluted our air, we have polluted our water, we have polluted the whole atmosphere. We will be actually heading towards disaster if such growth happens. Therefore, most of the countries now moving towards biomanufacturing, manufacturing using biological organisms. There is no carbon footprint, there is no chemicals involved, pollution is involved, biological contaminants are there, but there is a way in which it can be managed. Chemicals, very difficult to manage sometimes.
Dr. Kumar, for the sake of the common man, could you simplify the trilogy of economy, environment and employment? How do the three of them interact with?
This is the crux of, or we'll say the gist of the whole policy. So biotechnology for economy, environment and employment. Economy, because we ultimately are talking about economy. We are talking about taking from carbon generating economy to net zero carbon economy. So we are trying to make it circular economy. We are trying to make it sustainable economy. So economy is the main crux. We are trying to develop economy. That's why the word economy has come. We want economic development. So now the word is bioeconomy. Sometimes we say now country has $165 billion as bioeconomy currently, and we want to take it to say $300 billion by 2030. So this is what the economy word comes. Then second is environment. So economic development without the concern for the environment will lead us nowhere. It will be disaster for humankind, and that we have already seen in the the development that is happening. We have polluted our air, we have polluted water, we have polluted land, and it's very difficult to sustain that kind of a development. Therefore, the use of living organisms makes it sustainable. Carbon footprint is less, and therefore I think we want to integrate this environmental sustainability into this whole picture. And third is employment. Employment is very crucial, because ultimately the development which does not generate enough employment for youths would be a disaster again, because again it's not sustainable. Any development which does not take care of the communities, their engagement, because sustainable development has many connotations. One connotation is the sustainable environmental sustainability, but there are other sustainability issues also, social sustainability. If we suppose climate change is much more harmful for marginal communities or women or children compared to well-to-do people, because they can always use filters and they can live in homes where carbon footprint is not there. They can always protect themselves, purify. But marginal community and poor people cannot protect themselves from the environmental damage. Farmers cannot protect themselves, because if the climate change happens, the farmers are worse affected because of the monsoon crops, etc. So therefore, sustainability means social sustainability also. Therefore, employment is a major task or major aim for this Bio-E3 policy.
The 1st of September happens to be a very important day for the Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council, BIRAC. We would like to know about about the function that took place, the conclave that took place in Delhi, and what were the takeaway points that emerged?
So it's definitely a very turning point or stepping stone, I can say, for DBT BIRAC, actually, Department of Biotechnology and Industry Research Assistance Council, because we have launched 21 biofoundries and biomanufacturing hubs. And this is a turning point for our country, because I'll give you an example. There is something called Global Biofoundry Alliance, and it lists 40 biomanufacturing hubs or biofoundries, actually. It lists 40 members. Somebody can argue that there may be some other biofoundries who are not members. But say, estimated guess, you can say a reasonable guess would be globally you will not have more than 100 biofoundries across the globe. And I'm talking about the modern biofoundries. I'm not talking about the usual lab. Somebody can say, oh, we have a biofoundry, but I'm talking about biofoundries which are modern equipped, process control, integrated AI, ML, integrated automation, etc. Those biofoundries are less. And along with the, biomanufacturing capabilities, 100. And now we have launched 21. So if you take the ratio, globe to India, we have 1/4 or 1/5 of a strength in biomanufacturing and biofoundries, which is not bad. This is just a start. And the start is very optimal because we are fourth largest economy. And to be having a 1/4 or 1/5 of strength in biomanufacturing or biofoundry is not a bad thing to start with. I'm just giving you a coincidence, or it's not by design, but I'm just saying that generally speaking, this is something that we observe. And with time, we will have a lot more biofoundries and biomanufacturing hubs. What it tells that we'll be leading in this space. If you talk about US will have good 15 to 20 biofoundries, I would say. China would have some, Europe, all total we have some like 40. And say if there are some other countries which are not listed, there's no place where we can get the exact figures. But a guess says that not more than 100 biofoundries would be there. Out of that 100, if 21 is from our country, India, it's a huge leap forward, I would say. Therefore, this is a turning point today, a stepping stone today.
The term biotechnology itself in, contemporary times, it is a lot of healthy curiosity, and, for a young person, I'm sure one would like to know more about the way ahead for him or her in this particular field. I would like to conclude today's stimulating interaction with you with two-pronged question. How is this field for A, pure research students, and B, for young people who want to commence with a startup or something?
This is a very important question for any youngster who is studying biotechnology, that what is stored for him or her. See, earlier biotechnology was not a separate subject. It was not a different field. It was like field which was either coming out from zoology or botany, and it has its own, ramifications. There was only life sciences or botany or zoology.
And a bit of biochemistry.
With biochemistry. But later what happened was, after 1970s, when the gene cloning was established globally, gene cloning technology, recombinant DNA technology that we talk about, after the 1953 DNA was discovered, DNA means genes, DNA was discovered, the structure was unraveled in 1953. After that, it took another 30 for 20 years for first recombinant DNA technology to take place, which was in 1970s. And after that, this field emerged. This field became more and more towards genetic engineering. So the engineering, how to clone gene, how to express certain organisms, etc., and all that, certain proteins, etc. So this field emerged. Now this was very exciting, because talking to any layman, if you can say that, okay, I can clone a gene from one organism to another and then produce the protein for that gene is encoding, and we can use it for therapeutic purposes or food purposes or any other purposes, is exciting, actually, to be honest. And therefore there was a lot of interest generated, and many universities across the globe and even in India, they started the programs or training programs in biotechnology. However, the industry did not grow as fast as it was expected, because it required a lot of infrastructure investments, it required a lot of trained manpower, critical setup, which was lacking in our country. As you know, it requires a lot of capital. So our country was having less capital. No? Even now also we are not as rich as many other countries. However, this field grew, and so students who took botany, zoology ultimately shifted to biotechnology because it was most fashionable, and then they moved ahead doing postdoctoral training and settled in US or came back as a faculty. This is a pure science. You have two questions. No? The pure science career. Either you do doctorate and you do postdoc and settle abroad and come back, etc. Those are something that was there. However, there was another stream of people, especially in 2010-12 onwards, who were taking it as an entrepreneurial journey, who had certain things in their mind, certain innovative ideas, and they wanted to pin out a company. And that was a time when BIRAC was also formed, and it started funding those companies. So entrepreneurship became another career option for many students who were into biotechnology. And they may have come from abroad doing postdoc, and they wanted to not settle for academic job. They started their career in entrepreneurship. And we funded them. Some of them grew large companies and they have become very big.
On that positive note, Dr. Jitendra Kumar, I extend warmest thanks to you for coming over to the studios of Akashvani and spending some time with our listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's my honor.
You were listening to an interview with Dr. Jitendra Kumar, the Managing Director, BIRAC, and the interviewer was Manoj, Mainkar. Now, some science news by Samidha Rath from Media Business Studies, Indian Institute of Mass Communication, New Delhi.
A collaborative study by IIT Madras and Danish researchers has found that two genetic variants can function together as switches to unblock hidden metabolic pathways. Conducted using yeast models, the research offers fresh insights into diseases such as cancer and diabetes, paving the way for personalized medical treatments and improved patient outcomes. The US has granted regulatory approval for Leqembi, an Alzheimer's drug developed by pharmaceutical companies, allowing it to be administered at home in a manner similar to popular weight loss injections. The approval, closely monitored by investors, is expected to potentially boost sales and support the declining share prices of both companies. The drug offers hope in slowing the progression of Alzheimer's, a disease that affects millions worldwide. Scientists from the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology in Hyderabad, have discovered a mechanism that enables cells to revive from the brink of death and initiate tissue repair. Led by Dr. Santosh Chauhan, the study identifies this process as programmed cell revival, which mimics developmental growth and helps cells regain full functionality. Experiments showed that this mechanism accelerated wound healing in mouse skin, repaired corneal burns, stimulated tail regeneration in frog tadpoles, promoted nerve repair in worms, and boosted blood stem cell production in fruit flies. The findings were published in the EMBO journal. Researchers at Punjab Agricultural University have received a patent for developing a stable zinc phosphide bait, marking a significant advancement in pest control. The invention addresses a major limitation of conventional baits, as rodents tend to develop aversions to the poison over time, making it more effective for long-term use. In an effort to boost India's bioeconomy and provide world-class infrastructure to startups, small and medium enterprises, industries, and academic institutions, the Department of Biotechnology and the Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council have launched high-performance biomanufacturing platforms in the capital. Introduced under the Biotechnology for Environment, Economy, and Employment policy, the initiative aims to serve as a national platform to advance biomanufacturing in India. A team of Indian and international researchers has discovered a new species of diatom in the estuarine waters of Udupi. A team of Indian and international researchers has discovered a new species of diatom in the estuarine waters of Udupi. These microscopic algae play a vital role in maintaining the aquatic ecosystem. The newly identified species, named Climacones heteropolaris species nov, is distinguished by its unique heteropolar or unequal valve shape, making it different from other known diatom species. Researchers at the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Central Institute of Medicinal and Aromatic Plants, Lucknow, have developed an AI-based solution to combat food fraud and adulteration in India's natural medicine industry. Published in the journal Food Chemistry, the study highlights how this innovative method integrates artificial intelligence with high-resolution mass spectrometry to analyze the unique chemical fingerprints of medicinal plants. Researchers at IIT Bhilai have developed a cost-effective and eco-friendly method to recycle polyethylene terephthalate plastic using a reusable nano-ion catalyst. The process breaks down PET waste into its original monomer under mild conditions, removing the need to separate bottle caps from bottles and enabling true circular recycling. With government support, the team has filed a patent and is collaborating with industry partners to scale up the innovation. Experts believe this breakthrough could transform plastic waste management in the country. Indian researchers have developed a new nitro-substituted organoselenium compound that shows potential in reducing the invasiveness of aggressive triple-negative breast cancer cells by modulating multiple signaling pathways. Laboratory studies revealed that the compound significantly decreased tumor volume, angiogenesis, and metastasis in Swiss albino mice with breast adenocarcinoma, resulting in an extended lifespan. Researchers noted that the compound works by targeting multiple survival mechanisms within cancer cells. On September 7, 2025, a total lunar eclipse will turn the moon into a glowing red orb, offering a spectacular sight visible to over 7 billion people worldwide. A rare celestial event that can be seen across Asia, Africa, the Americas, and Oceania, giving nearly every inhabited continent an opportunity to witness this dramatic phenomenon. Lasting an unusually long 82 minutes of totality, this historic blood moon promises to be one of the most remarkable astronomical events of the decade.
Narrated by Priyanka Kumari and produced by Dilip Jha. This broadcast came to you from Indraprasth channel of Akashvani, Delhi.